Good morning, all. Today we will discuss about heart failure. Before discussing heart failure, we will discuss about the normal heart. It is a muscular tissue about the size of your fist. The weight of a heart in female it is approximately 250 to 300 gram, while in male it is a 300 to 350 gram. It is little larger. It is located behind and slightly to the left of the sternum. It pumps about 4.7 liters of blood every minute. The thickness of right wall it is approximately zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 centimeter, while left ventricular wall thickness is 1.3 to 1.5 centimeter. Now coming to normal anatomy of heart, this is a four chamber view. Right atrium, right ventricle, between these you will find a tricuspid valve. Left atrium, left ventricle, between these you will find a mitral valve. Here you will see a pulmonary valve, and here at the site of aorta you will find a aortic valve. The function of the heart is to circulate blood throughout the body by pumping blood through the lungs, removes carbon dioxide and refreshes the blood with oxygen. The oxygenated blood is pumped to the body to provide oxygen and nutrients and to remove waste products. The coronary arteries are the blood vessels that supply the blood and oxygen to the heart muscle. Uh, Here you will find a right coronary artery and left coronary artery having a two branch, LAD and circumflex artery. This is the left coronary artery, right coronary artery. Right coronary supplies the blood to the right atrium, right ventricle, bottom portion of the left ventricle and back of the septum. While LAD supplies the blood to the front and the bottom of the left ventricle and the front of the septum. This circumflex artery supplies the blood to the left atrium and the side and the back of the left ventricle. Already we have discussed this slide at the time of MI. Now coming to myocardium, it contains collection of specialized muscle cells, that is a myocytes, which are arranged in a circumferential and spiral orientation around left ventricle. It contains sarcolemma, titubules, sarcoplasmic reticulum, contractile elements, mitochondria, nucleus. There are more mitochondria in cardiac muscle cells than skeletal muscle, which suggests dependency on aerobic metabolism. The functional intracellular contractile unit of cardiac muscle is sarcomere, remember these, which is an orderly arrangement of thick filament myosin and thin filament, that is actin. It also contains regulatory protein, that is a troponin and tropomyosin. Myocytes, in myocytes it contains 25%, there is a 25% of total number of cells in the heart. uh, Myocytes are 25% of total number of cells in the heart and more than 90% volume of the myocardium. Atrial myocytes are smaller in diameter and less structure. Some atrial cells have a distinctive granules in the cytoplasm, which are the storage site for atrial natriuretic peptide. These ANP have a various effects in vasodilatation, natriuresis and diuresis. So it is beneficial in condition like hypertension and congestive heart failure. Functional integration of myocytes is mediated by intercalated discs which join individual cells and within which specialized intercellular junctions permit both mechanical and electrical coupling. For regulation of rate and rhythm of the heart, the components for that is SA node, which is located near the junction of right atrial appendage with superior vena cava. AV node, that is located in the right atrium along the atrial septum, bundle of His, and right and left bundle branches. Now coming to our main topic, that is congestive heart failure. Coming to definition, it is a pathophysiological state in which impaired cardiac function is unable to maintain an adequate circulation for the metabolic need of the tissue of the body. It is a common and often recurrent condition with poor prognosis. Now coming to etiology, it is because of either pump failure or increased workload or impaired ventricular filling. Pump failure, it is because of weakening of ventricular muscle. Condition like IHD, cardiomyopathy, myocarditis, or metabolic disorders of rhythm, that is atrial fibrillation and flutter. Increased workload, that because of fluid overload, acute MI, or acute valvular dysfunction. Impaired ventricular filling is seen in cardiac tamponade or constructive pericarditis. Now certain compensatory mechanism. First, that is a Frank-Starling mechanism, which increases the preload of dilatation, which leads to increases the preload of dilatation. Myocardial structure changes leads to hypertrophy with or without dilatation. Activation of neurohumoral system, like release of norepinephrine, activation of renin angiotensin aldosterone system, and release of ANP. Now coming to pathogenesis, because of disturbances in circulating mechanism, most common, that is congestion of the blood in peripheral veins and lungs, which is a main feature of all CHF. Second, it is because of disturbance in myocardial cellular function. For understanding these, first we will discuss about what is cardiac reserve. Starling law suggests that the force of contraction is proportional to the length of the fiber in physiologic state. When the myocardial fibers are stretched, they generate more energy for contraction. If there is increased venous return, which leads to a more stronger systolic contraction, so there is cardiac output is equal to input. Beyond certain limit, the heart cannot generate more energy. So in fact, it produces less energy and leads to decreased cardiac output. So it leads to decompensated heart failure. Now second, we will understand about the heart rate. To compensate the reduced cardiac output, the heart rate is increased, which leads to reduced duration of diastole. So there is decreased ventricular filling and decreased cardiac output. Third, that is myocardial hypertrophy. It increases cardiac when there is an increase in cardiac workload, like in condition aortic stenosis and systemic hypertension, it leads to increase the size of individual muscle fiber, and also there is increase in the number of myofilaments in each fiber. This compensates for the increased workload. As long as coronary vascular supply keeps pace with hypertrophy, the compensation is successful. But when these compensation fail to supply the hypertrophic muscle adequately, the muscle fiber starts the process regression and cardiac failure sets in. So when there is increase in mechanical load, which leads to increase subcellular content, and there is increase in the cell size, so there is a hypertrophy. Now coming to according to weight, normal weight up to 350 gram, but if it is approximately double, which is seen in pulmonary hypertension and IHD, while up to 1000 gram, which is seen in cardiomyopathy, that is a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Now coming to pathogenesis, cardiac hypertrophy because of pressure overload, the causes will be of hypertension or aortic stenosis. Here the hypertrophy of left ventricle with increased wall thickness without dilatation. The lumen is smaller. Second, that is volume overload. Here you will find a dilatation with increased ventricular diameter. Muscle mass and wall thickness are increased in proportion to ventricular diameter, and lumen is also dilatation. Grossly, in hypertrophied heart, you will see a thickness of left ventricle will be more, that is more than 1.5 centimeter or more than 15 mm. In pure hypertrophy, papillary muscles and trabecular carenae are rounded and enlarged, while in hypertrophy with dilatation, these are flattened. Microscopically, you will find an increase in the size of individual muscle fiber, multiple minute foci of degenerative changes and necrosis also seen in hypertrophied myocardium. Increased hypertrophy predicts excess morbidity and mortality. There is some physiological condition in which also hypertrophy of heart is seen, like in pregnancy, strenuous exercise. Here you will find an increased weight with ventricular dilatation and thin walls. Microscopy is the same as pathologic hypertrophy of heart. This is about the normal heart. This is a right ventricle and this is left ventricle. Such some condition like MI and dilated cardiomyopathy, it leads to uh, hypertrophy with dilatation of the ventricular wall. Here, myocyte length is increased more than its width. You will also find extensive fibrosis and death of myocytes, and advanced cardiac dysfunction will be there. Second cause, that is due to chronic hypertension and aortic valve stenosis, which leads to pathological hypertrophy. Here you will find width is more than the length of the myocyte. Fibrosis also there, and it may be cardiac dysfunction. This leads to cardiac dilatation also. Uh, because of chronic exercise or pregnancy, you will find a physiological hypertrophy of the heart. Here, myocyte length is increased more than the width. There is no fibrosis, no cardiac dysfunction. Now, coming to what is systolic dysfunction and diastolic dysfunction. In cardiomyopathy, we have seen that because of cardiomyopathy dilated cardiomyopathy, you will see a big systolic dysfunction, while rest to in hypertrophic and restrictive cardiomyopathy, you will see a diastolic dysfunction. In systolic dysfunction, there is a progressive deterioration of myocardial contractile function. Causes are IHD, pressure or volume overload, and dilated cardiomyopathy, hypertension. Damaged muscle contracts weakly or inadequately, and the chambers cannot empty properly. While in diastolic dysfunction, there is an inability of heart chamber to relax, expand, and fill sufficiently during diastole to accommodate an adequate ventricular blood volume. The causes are massive left ventricular hypertrophy, myocardial fibrosis, deposition of amyloid, constrictive pericarditis. And, types of this heart failure, first, that is a forward failure and backward failure. Forward failure, it is because of decreased cardiac output. Backward failure is due to damming back of the blood in the venous system. Here you will this figure shows systolic dysfunction, hypertrophy with dilatation. Here you will find a diastolic dysfunction. There is a no lumen dilatation, only hypertrophy. Now coming to some important causes of left ventricular failure. So first type of ventricular heart failure, that is first, that is acute and chronic heart failure. Second, already we have discussed, that is forward failure and backward failure. Third type, that is because of left-sided heart failure and right-sided heart failure. So here some important causes because of volume overload, pressure overload, loss of muscles in MI, loss of contractility in some poisons and infections, forward failure. The most common example, that is because of left ventricular failure, which leads to decreased cardiac output, leads to tissue anoxia and decreased renal perfusion, which leads to activation of renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So there is sodium and water retention and pulmonary congestion and edema. Now coming to etiology, it is because of ischemic heart disease, hypertension, aortic valve disease, non-ischemic myocardial disease. Morphology, in the heart you will see a hypertrophied heart with enlarged massively, heart is enlarged. Myocardium show non-specific changes of hypertrophy and fibrosis, that is in microscopy. A left atrium shows secondary enlargement with atrial fibrillation and compromised stroke volume, which causes blood stasis and thrombus formation. So there is increased risk of embolism. Here you will find a hypertrophy of left ventricle, and this is a apical four-chamber view. So both atrium and both ventricle you can appreciate here. Now here you will find a transverse section of the heart, left ventricular hypertrophy with or without dilatation. This is in the center. This is you will find a normal heart. This is a left ventricle, right ventricle. Here you will find a pressure hypertrophied heart with increased mass and thickened left ventricular wall. Here you will find a hypertrophied dilated heart. Now microscopically, this is a normal HNE myocardium or in HNE stain. Here you will find a hypertrophied, at the same view you will find a hypertrophied muscle which nucleus is also increased and cell size is also increased. Now coming to what happens to the different organs. First we will already discuss heart. Second, that is in the effects, we will see lungs. Pressure is increased in pulmonary veins, so it transmit retrograde to capillaries and arteries. So you will find a pulmonary congestion and edema. Grossly, these lungs are heavy, wet lungs, perivascular and interstitial transudate in interlobular septa, alveolar edema, widening of alveolar septa, and you will find a heart failure cells. These heart failure cells are not seen in heart, but it is seen in pulmonary congestion and edema. These are nothing but these are hemosiderin laden macrophages. It is because of leakage of iron containing protein in edema fluid and hemoglobin from RBC from congested capillaries. So these hemosiderin are phagocytized by macrophages. So remember these. This is a 1-mark question. What is heart failure cells? Clinical features, that is dyspnea, orthopnea, PND and cough. Here the specimen, this is a cut surface of a lung, that is chronic passive venous congestion. The lung is a reddish brown color. It is because of accumulation of hemosiderin, that is from extravasated RBCs. You will also find a fibrosis at some places. This is also known as brown induration of lung. Microscopically and each H&E section you will see a thickened septa. This is alveolar septa. This is a heart failure cells. This hemosiderin laden macrophages. This is the characteristic of chronic passive venous congestion of lung. Coming to kidney. In kidney, because of decreased cardiac output, there is a decreased renal perfusion. So activation of renin, angiotensin, aldosterone axis, which leads to retention of sodium and water. So there is pulmonary edema because of expansion of interstitial fluid and blood volume. It also releases ANP due to atrial dilatation. So there is a decrease in the blood volume. In severe cases, impaired excretion of nitrogenous waste products leads to pre-renal azotemia. In brain, because of cerebral hypoxia, there is a hypoxic encephalopathy. Patient having the irritability, loss of attention span, restlessness, which leads to coma. Now coming to right-sided heart failure, it is also known as cor pulmonae. It is an enlargement of right ventricle due to high blood pressure in the lungs, usually caused by chronic lung disease. These are certain causes. Most common cause because of left-sided failure. Second, because of primary right ventricular failure, right ventricular infarction, pre-capillary obstruction in congenital like shunt or obstruction, idiopathic pulmonary hypertension, pulmonary embolism, or chronic obstructive lung disease. Etiology most common, that is LVF, cor pulmonae, right-sided valvular disease, right-sided myocardial disease, and pulmonary hypertension. Pure right heart failure, it is because of pressure workload due to hypertension, which leads to hypertrophy and dilatation of right ventricle and atrium. Coming to pathogenesis, there is residual blood volume in left ventricle, so it leads to increased left atrial pressure, leads to increased pressure in pulmonary venous circulation. So there is pulmonary venous congestion and pulmonary hypertension, which leads to increased right ventricular pressure and systemic venous congestion and edema. Remember, these left ventricular failure is the most common cause of right-sided heart failure. Now coming to morphology. In liver, the specimen nutmeg liver, it is commonly asked in your practical exam. Also asked in short note as a nutmeg liver. Also asked in 1 mark question. Now coming to liver and portal system. Congestive hepatomegaly, it is also known as nutmeg liver. Cut surface, you will find a passive congestion, congested central lobular area, that is red centers of the liver lobules, which are surrounded by paler fatty peripheral regions. With left ventricular failure, central hypoxia produces central lobular necrosis with sinusoidal congestion. With long-standing severe right ventricular failure, central areas become fibrotic. It is also known as cardiac cirrhosis. 1 mark question, what is cardiac cirrhosis? Portal venous pressure is increases. This is a gross specimen cut surface of liver. You will find what is nutmeg. જાયફળ હોય ને એને nutmeg કહેવાય. Okay, so here you will find red areas represent the congested and necrotic central zone of the lobule, these red areas. Alternate, you will find a red and pale areas, while pale area represent the periportal area that is less affected. H&E stains section of liver, chronic passive venous congestion. This is a periportal area. These are less affected. So here you will find a mild fatty change. While in centrilobular area, at the site of around the hepatocytes around the lobule, you will find a centrilobular necrosis, hemorrhagic necrosis, congestion and hemorrhage. Second, that is congestive splenomegaly. Grossly, the weight of spleen is increased up to double. Normal weight of spleen is up to 150 gram. Here you will find a double 300 to 500 gram with marked cellular dilatation and patient having ascites. In kidney, you will find a congestion is marked with right-sided heart failure, leads to fluid retention, peripheral edema, and azotemia. In brain, you will, because of venous congestion and hypoxia, encephalopathy. In pleura and pericardial space, you will find a effusion, pleural effusion, usually with right-sided heart failure. In subcutaneous tissue, you will find a peripheral edema of dependent portion of the body at the site like ankle and pretibial, which is a hallmark of right ventricular failure. While in anasarca, it is a generalized massive edema in chronically bedridden patient. This is a cut surface of spleen in case of chronic passive in heart because of heart failure, chronic passive venous congestion of spleen, congested spleen, so it is a dark in color. With fibrotic white trabecula are also seen. Here the spleen is enlarged secondary to passive congestion. It is which reflecting portal hypertension. Fine white trabecula represent the fibrous scar. Now coming to summary, the heart failure, that is a congestive heart failure, it occurs when the heart is unable to provide adequate perfusion to meet the metabolic demands of peripheral tissue. Inadequate cardiac output usually accompanied by congestion of the venous circulation. Left-sided heart failure is most commonly secondary to ischemic heart disease, systemic hypertension, mitral and aortic valvular disease, or primary disease of the myocardium. Symptoms are mainly a consequences of pulmonary congestion and edema, although systemic hypoperfusion can cause renal and cerebral dysfunction. Right-sided heart failure is due to most often left-sided heart failure and less commonly to primary pulmonary disorders. Signs and symptoms are related chiefly to peripheral edema. Thank you.